You're welcome back to Hello Nigeria. It's time for our top story. We'll be looking at employability, education, and the NYSC scheme today. And to join us to discuss this is Dr. Dipo Awojide. Dr. Dipo Awojide is a senior lecturer in strategy at the Nottingham Business School. He obtained an MSc in international business with distinction from Coventry University in the United Kingdom. He obtained a PhD in strategic management from Loughborough University. He's a lecturer in strategy at Nottingham Business School. Dipo has expertise in strategic management, international business, personal and professional development, and employability. He has mentored over 500 students from the United Kingdom, United States, Spain, Russia, India, China, Nigeria, and other countries. Nice to have you on Hello Nigeria, Dr. Awojide.
Thank you very much.
And I would say a very impressive profile you have here, quite intimidating for those who agree to be intimidated. Have you ever, at any point in your life, schooled in Nigeria?
Yes, I have. My secondary school and my first degree was from the University of Abuja.
Fantastic. Why I'm asking this is because I wanted you to do a comparative analysis with the educational system here, and you schooled abroad as well. Yep. So what would you say is the difference? What are we lacking here? There's an advantage over there.
Yeah, I think I think the most important thing that we need in the education sector in Nigeria is quality leadership. So in the UK, I mean, comparing the UK and Nigeria, I think there's a sense of urgency in the UK. There's a sense of, okay, this is what is happening in the US or in North America. And, you know, this is what is happening in Canada and Australia. Keeping up with what is going on in those countries and with Finland as well. So they actually, you know, they pay attention to the best practices all over the world in terms of basic education, higher education. But unfortunately in Nigeria, we don't seem to have that sense of urgency. We are more, this is how we have been doing it. There's no, you know, there's no innovativeness. There's almost, you know, nonchalant attitude towards education in Nigeria. And thinking about, you know, the quality of teachers as well. The teachers in the UK, I mean, I'd say 95, if not 100% of them are actually trained. You have to be trained. You have to be certified. Most of the lecturers have, there's continuous training, continuous advancement and development, you know, continuous improvement of teaching, research, and, you know, trying to ensure that the graduates at the end of the day are employable. We don't see that in Nigeria. It's quite unfortunate that, you know, most of our primary and secondary school students end up being taught by NYSC teachers. Being a realist and, you know...
Or by secondary school graduates as well.
Which is quite unfortunate.
People who have sought employment in other places and
so
as a last resort.
Exactly. So, you know, people say, oh, you know, we need to have those NYSC guys as teachers, blah, blah, blah. Yes, being, you know, what exactly Nigeria is today, that is acceptable. It is not acceptable, but we don't have a choice. But, you know, going forward, we have to think about, I mean, do you want your kids to be taught by untrained teachers? And this is a question I've actually been asking people in the last couple of days. You know, being a graduate is different from being able to teach.
Or having a degree in education.
Or having a degree, yeah. So if people have degrees in education, fine, they can actually be NYSC teachers. But you've actually, you know, studied BSc chemistry or BSc accounting does not mean that you can teach. You can teach, you know, stand in front of kids, you know, and speak eloquently and have a clear understanding of what, understand their needs. So, I mean, these are some of the challenges. These are some of the issues that, you know, I think we can actually describe as the differences between the Nigerian education sector and the British education sector.
Now, you've mentioned the problems and the challenges we have. And if you look across the strata of Nigerian society, health, education, security, when you talk about problems, the number one solution that comes to the minds of a lot of people is money. Just throw money at it, it would disappear. UNESCO recommends 26% of your annual budget for developing countries should be set aside for education. Nigeria is doing around 6 to 7%. We've never done double digits when it comes to the percentage of our budget that is dedicated to education. We're playing catch up and it's still so meager. So would you say if we increase funding, it will be the magic panacea to the problems in our education sector?
Yes, so I know in Nigeria, we like to think money would solve all our problems. Unfortunately, it won't. It would help, but besides, you know, spending a lot of money, you actually need quality leadership. you know, you need people who understand what happens in other climes. You need people who have a clear understanding of how to get 11 million kids out of the streets and into the classroom. Because, like I said to a lot of people, these 11 million kids who are not in school are a threat to every one of us and to the children of the elites who, you know, who study abroad in the UK, US, and Canada, and wherever they are. When your kids come back to the country, they're not going to be locked up in your house forever. They are going to come onto the streets, and these 11 million kids. I mean, if we, as a starting point, let's say we start allocating, say 12 or 10%, you know, of the budget towards education as against the 6% that, you know, we currently have. UNESCO actually says, or UN actually says 26%, which I think, of course, is a bit high, but you know that education is very, very important because every sector...
And the ripple effect of it.
Yeah, it has a ripple effect on how competitive the country can be on a global scale. It has a competitive effect on you know, what sort of graduate, what sort of skilled workforce do we have, okay? Do we have people who can do technical jobs? Do we have people who can do... Because, I mean, I would want to see Nigeria move to a place where it's more or less a knowledge-based, a skill-based economy where, I mean, you get competent people, you get, you know, for medical doctors, for example, actually live in Nigeria just because, you know, the pay and the entire system
There's a brain drain.
There's a...
Now,
a massive one.
It brings us to the second part of our discussion. Let's quickly touch on this because of time constraints. Employability. Nigerian universities, it's like a factory. We keep churning out graduates, thousands of them from all the universities every year, but the economy is not sufficient enough to absorb them. So there's a problem of jobs. Yeah. Some of those graduates argue that, look, I'm employable. I can do the work, but the jobs aren't just there. Yeah. And employers will tell you that, look, you guys are not employable material, that you lack in so many areas. And we're not in the business of training. We're there to make profits. You should be ready-made and fit to work. Yeah. What is your assessment of this? I
mean, I would expect that, you know, multinational enterprises and local, you know, companies in Nigeria actually, you know, have a budget for training. You know, at the end of the day, these people are going to contribute to your ability to make profits. But having said that, I think graduates, especially graduates from federal and state universities, I think they hold themselves a responsibility. And I've said this: you can't outsource your personal and professional development to the federal or state government. Or to friends, or, you know, to your family members, because our federal and state universities, they are not doing a good job. We don't have career hubs, we don't have academic mentors, we don't have consultants who actually speak to young people, get them ready. We don't have people who, you know, speak to young people about career progression, about getting into specific industries. Young people don't have... I mean, quite a lot of young people don't have critical thinking skills, problem-solving skills. What we just go to do in university is just copy and paste.
Which is very sad.
Which is very unfortunate. People just, you know, graduate, accounting graduate. All you've done is copy from, you know, Franco textbook and you know, just give back what the lecturer actually wants.
You must also mention the fact that a lot of them are not in courses that they actually are passionate about, but because there's a system that says, oh, I wanted to study accounting, but they gave me English. Yeah. Or I wanted to study law, they gave me theatre arts. So we see people in courses that they're not really passionate about. Yeah. Now, still talking about employability, lots of Nigerian graduates have raised claims that even Nigerian companies, when they are placed, when it's time for them to employ young people, they always pick certificates, foreign certificates, over their own Nigerian students. What would you say about this?
Yeah, I think that's discrimination. I think it's a bit unfair. But looking at it from a second angle, I'd say, you know, the business of business is business. The business of business is making money. The business of business is profitability.
Getting the best hands.
Yeah, getting the best hand, getting the most competent people. Would you rather spend 200,000 naira training someone on Microsoft Office packages, you know, creativity, multitasking, having the ability to lead projects and lead people? Would you rather train someone or get someone who is ready, who has that mentality, someone who thinks, you know, thinks about what happens in other climes and other countries? I think most of these companies, like I said, it's pure discrimination, but I mean, it is what it is, unfortunately. how...
but at the end of the day, they're Nigerian citizens.
Yeah, they are Nigerian
qualified
citizens,
for
but
employment.
What young people can do, what, folks from federal and state universities can actually do, and some of the private universities as well, because it's not all the private universities that actually churn out employable graduates. What they can actually do is, attend personal and professional development events. Make sure you volunteer. Make sure you look for internship opportunities. Start a small business. With 30,000 naira, you can start a very small business. You would learn a lot from actually dealing with people, from interacting with people. You would learn a lot. So if they can invest in their own personal development, I don't see a way how, they wouldn't be able to compete with people from the rest of the world.
I like that you mentioned a lot of these things. We don't have a habit of volunteering. I mean, last week we had a guest who started the Girl Hub Africa Foundation. What they do is volunteer to organizations. In the process, they're investing in themselves personally and learning skills. Now, let's shift a little bit from employability and talk about NYSC. Lots of people have advocated that NYSC is a failed program and should be scrapped. Some people have gotten jobs from NYSC. Some others think, it's just a waste of time. People go to local government, sit down, play games on their phone, constitute nuisance on social media, and then close. And then they are getting their end of the month allowance. What are the highs and the lows of the NYSC package? And do you think it's something that should actually be scrapped or revamped?
So my opinion on NYSC is I think NYSC has to be revamped.
Not scrapped?
Not scrapped.
Okay.
But we have to change the objective, the core objectives of NYSC. Okay? NYSC was founded on a 1973 template. It is old. It is dated. I mean, you can't expect to, build something on a 1973 template and not update it,
Never.
I mean, ever. The main objective of NYSC has actually been build up the country after the Civil War, reduce tribalism, foster unity. Foster unity. From the comments that we see on social media, can we actually say that, before the 2015 election and after the 2015 election, there's a lot of, tribal affiliated comments, there's a lot of tribalism in Nigeria, and spending 80 billion or 85 billion naira on NYSC on a yearly basis, I think is a lot of money to spend on trying to reduce tribalism. There are other means and other ways that we can actually, look to reducing tribalism in Nigeria. If the federal government and state government, for example, employ people based on, competence, based on, there are competent people from all over the country. If you employ, give every Nigerian equal opportunities, I think we would be able to reduce tribalism in the country.
Okay, quick one before we let you go. There's been a lot of debate about the curriculum, talking about revamping. You did mention the curriculum in Nigeria trains you to just regurgitate, copy and paste. But this same curriculum that we have, when Nigerians like you and other Nigerians that have been fortunate to go outside the country for higher degrees, they come out with distinctions, they win awards and all of that. So if there's a problem with the curriculum, how come you could do very well with your Nigerian training?
Yeah, I think...
I mean, you're a living example of that.
Yeah, I actually went to a federal university in Nigeria before going to the UK, and, there's that rigor, that academic rigor, there's that suffering. There's that suffering that you go through in Nigeria that makes you very tough. I mean, I led a class of about 75 people in the UK, and I have quite a number of colleagues as well who, are actually excellent coders. They are actually, they lead their own classes when they get to the UK as well. I think the curriculum is dated. It has to be revamped. There are people who, study BSc computer science or IT-related courses who have never, opened up a computer before, coupled a computer. And I mean, it starts from the primary school. It starts from junior secondary school. Okay, we have to, revamp the curriculum in such a way that even most of our universities actually churn out job seekers. How about focusing more on training entrepreneurs? How about focusing more...
And I think that's a point of focus that we should be thinking about. Not just our universities should focus not just on training job seekers, but creating entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Dr. Dipo, for joining us. Yeah. I think we've had a fantastic conversation, and in answer to that, Benga, our students do fantastic abroad because we suffer in Nigeria to read. A lot of us read with candles, but when you go outside, you have
easy.
easy
It's on
life.
the platter.
Internet,
Why won't
there's
you
life, there's
excel?
everything, there's
You
the
know,
support. Yeah.
Life is easier. You know, they say those, they say the species that does the best in life are not the fastest or the strongest, but those who are able to adapt to change. And Nigerians are known for being able to adapt to change. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much, Dr.
We'll go on a music break. We have a video titled Unborn. Enjoy this one. When we come back, we'll probably be discussing sports with Nnamdi Ekumba. Stay around.
To enjoy more of these our Ogbonge videos when you just watch, press this button to subscribe on top of our YouTube page. You go love am.